Guys, welcome back to Ada's Place. My name is Ada, and here I give knowledge and tips in the midst of vibes. Anyway, if this is your first time seeing me, welcome. I hope you like my content. I hope you like the videos, the information I share, and if you do, please consider joining the family, liking my videos, and subscribing. And if you have been on my channel for a while, thank you so much for keeping me going. Thank you so much for liking my content and for asking all the questions, because with your questions I know that you need to know more things and then more video ideas. Anyway, so in this video we're going to be talking about the things you should get sorted out in your first month in Germany. So if you moved or you're planning on moving and you're trying to figure out what are the things I should get sorted out in my first month here in Germany, you should definitely keep on watching. And if you haven't seen my last video, it's about the things to get sorted out in your first week in Germany. So you should know that these things are like super urgent, and the things I'm going to talk about in this video, I think that you should also get sorted out in your first month in Germany. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. The first thing on my list, I don't have any order of sequence or category or things like that, but I think the first thing you should do in your first month in Germany, if you came in as a student, of course, is to sort out your student card. So if you're in a private university or in a public university, of course, you'll be given a student identity card. This distinguishes you as a student, and especially if you're in a public university, you could get some very subsidized rates on certain things with that card, so it's super important. Okay, so for instance, with your student identity card, you can get like subsidized transport tickets. You don't have to pay, the amount for a full adult or the full amount, I would say, or the full amount, because you're a student and it's also believed that you don't have that much money to cover this bill, so you need the student ID card. Student ID card and transport situations, you should also get your transport sorted out. So it depends on how often you transport yourself around within cities or locally, like in a particular city. So say for instance Berlin, we have different means of transportation, public transportation to be very precise. So you have the S-Bahn, we have the U-Bahn, we have the trams, we have the buses. And the good thing about the transportation system here in Germany is that you can have one card that gives you access to using all these public transport networks, and it depends on where you're going to. So in some areas you have more of buses, and in some areas you have more of trams, and in some areas too, especially around the U-Bahn or around the Mitte, like the central areas, you have more of the S-Bahns and the U-Bahns. So it depends on how often you go out. If you go out a lot, it's always cost effective to get like a yearly ticket where they debit a certain amount of money from you every month. Usually it's about 63 euros per month, and then with this you're covered. They give you a card for it, and then with it you can always take any of the buses. You don't have to pay. You can take any of the public transportation systems, trams, U-Bahns, whatever. You don't have to pay. But this is when you're moving within the city, not when you're traveling outside of your city. When you're traveling outside of your city, that's a different transport and you have to pay for that. Okay, so if for instance you don't go out a lot, or maybe in certain months you go out more than in others, you can consider getting the monthly ticket. The monthly ticket costs about 83 euros per month, and with that you can, if for instance in a month you're sure that you're not going to go out a lot, you can just decide not to pay for that month, or you get the drill. And then sometimes too, if you don't go out a lot often, you can decide to get like a daily ticket. Daily tickets, depends, right? So you have like for short trips, you have for long trips, but I'm sure you can figure it out. The most important thing is that you should get your transport system sorted out, because the thing here in Germany is that it feels like nobody's checking until they actually start checking. And if you get caught without the right ticket, you'll get fined, and the fine is about 60 something euros, which is the same amount of money or even a little bit more if you decide to go for a yearly ticket for a month. This is the same amount of money that you need to charge you. So why don't you just pay that a few euros and get your transport right? Next thing to do is to begin to look for an appointment for your residence permit. So I mean, you came here on a entry visa, that is the visa D situation, and so you have to get a residence permit this time, right? And so you need to start looking for an appointment. And to get an appointment it takes quite a while, it takes quite a while, and you have to always keep refreshing and refreshing and refreshing, because right now with the COVID-19 situation, you can't walk in. I mean, before COVID-19 happened, you can just go to some Buga amts and maybe queue up for a while without an appointment, and they would still attend to you. But right now you can't go there without an appointment, and so you need to look for an appointment. And looking for an appointment in this country is something. It takes a lot of patience, right? But yeah, you can get it. Every other person is getting it, so you'll get it eventually. So yeah, you need to get the appointment, right? And you don't want to wait until your visa is almost expired before you get the appointment. That's why it's important for you to already start looking for an appointment. And you can start looking for an appointment, get an appointment in the next 2 or 3 months. That's why it's important for you to already start right now. You get it right. Yeah, exactly. And while you're looking for appointments, you also have to look for or start gathering the documents that are necessary. Important thing to know is that the documents that are dated, the ones that you need for this residence permit application, they don't need to be more than 14 days old. I don't know if I got that right. Yes. So the thing is, if for instance you have an appointment in 1 month and you already have your documents, say for instance your form signed, the date has to be within 14 days. It shouldn't be more than 14 days to your appointment date. Yes. So it's important. So even while you're filling out your documents, you can tell not to sign them, until you're sure you have an appointment date, and then you can sign within that date. Yes. So yeah, you have to start looking for a residence permit appointment online in order to change your visa D to a work permit or a student permit. The next thing to do in your first month is to, of course, start thinking of getting a job, especially if you came without a job. Maybe you came on a student permit, or you came on a job seeking visa. The thing is, if you've never lived in Germany, in order for you to actually be eligible to work here, to be employed, and to actually start making money, you need to get like a tax ID, a tax class, and a social security number. You remember in my previous video when I talked about the first things you need to do in your first week of arriving in Germany, I mentioned the health insurance. So with your health insurance, you're automatically given a social security number. So with that social security number, you have to give it to your employers. However, you need to go to a finance arm. So you have to go to the finance institution to get your tax ID and your tax class. And your tax class is based on your marital situation and whether or not you have a kid. So for most students or single people, single employees, it's usually in tax class 1. However, if you're married and you have children, your tax class changes. Or if you have more than one source of income, your tax class changes. So you have to understand the situation, and then you have to get your tax ID and your tax class. With that, you also have to start looking for a job, right? And so of course you start looking online, start sending out applications depending on the kind of job you want. What I would advise, even if you're a student, is to start looking for professional jobs, right? Because there in this situation, you can either look for a working student or an internship. Most times a working student, because then you still be in school, right? And then it will help you on the long run when you already graduated, you already have like valid experience, and it becomes easier for you to get a job. However, if you're a job seeking visa, of course, you have to start looking for a job, not like a working student situation, or you start looking for an internship job. No, you're looking for a full-time job. If you've already come here, like if you're already employed before you came to Germany, of course you'll be looking, you don't need to look for a job anymore, except you kind of lost your job, but I hope that's not the case. One important thing for you to already start learning the language in your first month. I mean, you're in Germany, here they speak German. I don't know if you're aware, but they speak German. Even though in some cities you might be lucky enough to have people that speak English with you, but even in these cities, in most institutions, for instance, if you go for your visa appointment, or you go to get your Anmeldung, any of all these offices, you need to speak German, right? And so it's important for you to learn the language. And this is, you know, in your first month is usually the best time. You can enroll in a language school, or you check out some German language apps or German language tutorials on YouTube. They are very helpful. I mean, it gives you a little bit of information before you decide to really enroll in a language school. And language schools are all over. It depends on the one you want to go for, and also depends on your time. So some of them are on a daily basis, you know, if it's like intensive courses, and some of them are, you know, on a weekday, you know, depend on the day of the week when you are available to come for the classes. But it's really important for you to learn the language, and it's fun. Learning the language is fun, and once you learn the language, you can actually try to practice speaking the language. I need to listen to my own advice, but yeah, you get the drill. And one final item on my list that I think is really important that a lot of people miss out is to convert your driver's license. So this is especially for people that already have driver's licenses in their home countries before they move to Germany. It's important that in your first month, in your first year, you should already plan on converting it to a German driver's license. Otherwise, after that, after your first year, it becomes difficult, and then you have to go through the process of getting the driver's license from the very beginning, and it takes a while. It's very expensive. You don't want to go down rail. So if you already have a driver's license, you can go to a foreigner's office close to you and tell them you want to convert to a German or an European driver's license, and then they'll give you a form. Yeah, I mean, they'll give you certain forms to fill, of course. However, they'll give you a timeline where you have to pass a theory test, the driver's license theory test, and a practical test, and then you can convert, right? And so you have to pass within this time. Otherwise, it's going to take, you just have to start afresh. You know, go for theory classes, go for practical classes, and then, you know, it's always easier if you already have family from your country to just change it immediately. Otherwise, it just takes longer. Anyway, this is the end of this video. I hope you find it really helpful. I hope I was able to talk about some things. If there are things that you think I missed out that are important for anyone to know in their first month, or important for them to already do in their first month or having moved to Germany, please mention this in the comment section. Leave me comments. Follow me on my social media handles as well. Follow me on IG, please. I also love to hear from you. If you recently moved to Germany, what's the experience been like for you? Is there any question or maybe any challenge you're currently facing that you think I might be able to help you with? Just let me know. You can send me a DM. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Ciao.